A few weeks ago, I lost my father after a long battle with his health. My name is Amanda, and his passing left a void in my heart that feels impossible to fill. Sometimes I catch myself wishing he could have met my little daughter, Sophie. It's a thought that brings both a smile and a pang of regret. 5 years ago, when I was 34, I stood on a beach at sunset, exchanging vows with my husband. On that joyous day, my dad and I made a pact. I would be the first to tell him when I was expecting. But life had other plans, and it's a promise I will never be able to keep. Dad's illness came out of nowhere. Last year, during a routine checkup, the doctors found something concerning. From that moment on, my life became a cycle of hospital visits, sleepless nights, and unanswered prayers. I spent every available moment with him, taking care of his needs, sharing stories from my childhood, and even trying to make him laugh with old family jokes. Despite all that, I'm often haunted by the thought, could I have done more? After Dad passed, our family gathered at my parents' house to sort through his affairs. It felt surreal to sit in the living room where we'd celebrated countless birthdays and holidays, knowing he wouldn't walk through the door again. My sister, Olivia, arrived with an air of detachment. She had always been distant, but her behavior during Dad's illness had created a chasm between us. She rarely visited, citing her busy schedule in the city as an excuse. I tried to understand, but resentment bubbled beneath the surface. "This is Jack, the lawyer," Olivia introduced a man in his late 40s. He was dressed in a crisp suit, his demeanor calm and professional. My mother, looking fragile and tired, offered him a seat. Once we were all settled, Jack placed a thick envelope on the table. "Your father prepared this a few weeks before he passed," he explained. The room fell silent as he opened the envelope and pulled out a will. The lawyer began reading, and the inheritance seemed straightforward at first. The house would go to my mother, and the savings would be split between Olivia and me. But then he mentioned something unexpected, a storage shed near the edge of the property. My sister and I exchanged puzzled glances. We knew about the house and the land, but this shed was news to us. "What's in the shed?" Olivia asked, her voice tinged with impatience. Jack shrugged. "Your father didn't specify. He only mentioned that the shed and its contents should be divided equally." My sister scoffed. "It's probably just old tools or junk. Amanda can have it." Her dismissive tone irritated me, but I held my tongue. After the meeting, curiosity got the better of me. I decided to visit the shed. The path to it was overgrown, the kind of trail that had clearly been neglected for years. When I finally reached it, the shed stood quietly among tall trees, its wooden exterior weathered and covered in moss. I unlocked the door with a key Jack had given me, and a wave of stale air greeted me. Inside, the shed was cluttered with gardening tools, rusty equipment, and dusty boxes. At first glance, it seemed as though Olivia had been right. But something felt off. The dimensions of the shed didn't match what I saw outside. It seemed smaller, as if it was hiding a secret. My pulse quickened as I scanned the walls and floor. Then, in the back corner, I noticed a section of the wooden paneling that looked slightly different. Driven by instinct, I pried at the panel. It creaked and gave way, revealing a hidden compartment. Inside was a small metal safe, its surface scratched but sturdy. My hands trembled as I inspected it. The safe was locked, and there was no sign of a key. Questions swirled in my mind. What could be inside? Why had Dad hidden it? Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about the safe. I tried different keys and combinations, but nothing worked. Meanwhile, Olivia's attitude grew increasingly unbearable. She dismissed the shed as worthless and focused on the cash inheritance. Her disinterest in the shed only fueled my determination to uncover its secrets. One evening, as I rummaged through Dad's old desk drawers, I found a small envelope labeled Memories. Inside was a photograph of him standing in front of the shed, holding a young me in his arms. On the back of the photo, he had written, "For Amanda, when the time is right." My heart raced. Was this a clue? I studied the photograph closely and noticed that Dad's hand rested on a particular spot on the shed's doorframe. The next morning, I returned to the shed and examined the doorframe. Sure enough, there was a tiny notch. Using a screwdriver, I pried it open and found a small key hidden inside. My breath caught as I realized this might be what I needed. With trembling hands, I inserted the key into the safe. It clicked open, revealing its contents: stacks of old letters, a leather-bound journal, and a velvet pouch. Inside the pouch was a collection of vintage coins, each meticulously preserved. The journal was filled with Dad's handwriting, detailing his thoughts, dreams, and memories. Among the letters, one was addressed to me. "Amanda," it began. "If you're reading this, it means I've gone. This shed holds more than just my belongings. It holds pieces of our family's story. The coins are part of a collection started by your grandfather, and the journal contains things I never found the courage to say out loud. Take care of these treasures, and remember that the greatest inheritance I can leave you is the love we shared." Tears streamed down my face as I clutched the letter. This discovery felt like a final conversation with my father, a way for him to stay connected even after his death. When I told Olivia about the safe, she was unimpressed. "Coins and letters? That's hardly an inheritance," she scoffed. Her dismissive attitude stung, but I realized it didn't matter. These items were priceless to me. As I delved deeper into the journal, I discovered entries about Dad's struggles and triumphs, his hopes for Olivia and me, and his deep love for our mother. One entry mentioned a hidden account he had set aside for emergencies. Following his clues, I located the account details in an old filing cabinet. It contained enough funds to ensure Mom's financial security for years to come. When I shared this news with Mom, she broke down in tears. "He always thought of everything," she whispered. Olivia, however, remained indifferent. Her fixation on immediate wealth blinded her to the true value of what Dad had left behind. Weeks later, Olivia's financial troubles came to light. Despite her affluent lifestyle, she had amassed significant debt. Her desperation drove her to demand a larger share of the inheritance. "You have no idea what I'm dealing with," she snapped during one heated argument. Her behavior reached a breaking point when she showed up unannounced at the shed one night, accusing me of hiding something valuable. Her actions were erratic, and it was clear she was struggling. I felt a mix of anger and pity as I watched her spiral. In the end, I chose to forgive Olivia, not for her sake, but for mine. Holding on to anger wouldn't bring Dad back. Instead, I focused on honoring his memory by cherishing the treasures he had left me and ensuring Mom's well-being. The experience changed me in ways I hadn't expected. It taught me the importance of family, forgiveness, and finding meaning in the little things. As I held Sophie in my arms one quiet evening, I whispered, "Your grandpa would have loved you so much." And in that moment, I felt his presence, a gentle reminder that love transcends time and space. Life moved on, but the lessons Dad left behind continued to guide me. The shed, once a neglected structure, became a sanctuary, a place where memories lived and love endured. And though the pain of losing him never fully faded, it was softened by the knowledge that he had given me everything I needed to carry forward: his love, his wisdom, and the strength to face